Africa.
Africa is the only continent in the world where the people sing and dance and applaud those who impoverish them, who starve them, and who torture them.
Africans are the only people who are dancing for their own impoverishment, dancing for their own suffering. This is so deep. This is really deep, coming from the captain, the inspirational captain, Captain Traore. I'm going to be showing you the full video, please. It's a bit long video, but it's so inspirational that every African must listen to what he's saying. It's a bit old video, but this is the kind of leaders that Africa need. We have cried for so long for leaders like this, and we thank Mother Nature, we thank God for giving us a leader like Captain Traore at this particular point in time in our history as children of Africa. Because everything that he's saying is absolutely true. We are the only people who are dancing to our own impoverishment, to our own suffering. Why? What has happened to us? Nothing is wrong with us, but something happened to us, and then we must change that. I thank you very much for coming around. I am your missionary brother Dobia Anzansi. Please, if you appreciate what we are doing here, One African Mission, we are missionaries, we are young Africans, we are determined to travel around the 54 states in Africa, because we call them states. The 54 states in Africa, we are determined to travel around those 54 states to preach the gospel of unity to our people, because we believe that it is only unity that can give us dignity, that can free us from dancing to our own impoverishment. So that is why we have come out with counter missionaries, the missionaries that the Europeans sent to Africa to come and brainwash our people, to come and colonize our people mentally, so that they can come in and colonize us physically and politically. Today, we have realized that, so we have come out with a counter missionaries, and our mission is to travel around the 54 states in Africa to preach the gospel of unity, because we want dignity for our people, and then we believe that without unity we can never get our dignity as children of Africa. So we thank you very much for coming around. Please, if you appreciate what we are doing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, One African Mission, the number one African mission. We are missionaries, we are on a mission, and until Africa is united, the mission will never be accomplished. So please support our mission. If you appreciate what we are doing, let us take our YouTube channel to 10,000K. We appreciate those of you who have supported us in sharing our content. We appreciate those of you who have supported us by subscribing. But those of you who haven't really get time out of your busy schedules, please try and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on Facebook, One African Mission. We are missionaries. We are on a mission, and our mission is to dismantle the Berlin Conference borders in Africa. The Berlin Petition of Africa is the reason why we are suffering. Is the reason why we are dancing to our own impoverishment, just as Captain Traore said. And our mission is to abolish, or is to dismantle all those borders. Please support our mission. If you appreciate what we are doing, if you know that you deserve better as a child of Africa, if you think that all the privileges that other nations are getting, or other races are getting, you deserve more than that, then please let us all bring our energies together to fight for a united Africa. With unity, we can gain back our dignity as children of Africa. I thank you very much for coming around. I am your missionary brother Dobia Anzansi. Please support us. Let us all together fight for a better Africa, not just for us, but for the next generation of Africans. We cannot afford to handle this Africa that we inherited from our ancestors to the next generation of Africans. We are not proud of this Africa. So if we want our children to inherit a better Africa, then we must work hard to handle a better Africa to them. That is why we are here. I thank you very much for coming around. Please let us watch the full video of Captain Traore. It's very inspirational. It's very inspiring, with the energy and the intellect, the intelligence of this young captain. We thank Mother Nature for giving us such a captain, such a leader at this point in our history. Let us watch the full video, come back and analyze it. We are not going to talk much as we come back, because he has already said everything. Let us watch it.
Africa is the only continent in the world where the people sing and dance and applaud those who impoverish them, who starve them, and who torture them. The misfortune of Africa is to have met France. End of quote. It's true that the West was violent with Africa, raped it, and stole from Africa. So what is our share of the responsibility in all of this as African leaders? Is it not us, the African leaders, who have abandoned our identity? Our names have disappeared in order to make way for other names that do not match our realities. We need to reconquer our own culture and take ownership. And that's why today people try to make us believe that our values and our attitudes are not natural and are not part of freedom. We Africans are today recognized in our dignity as people, in the sense of one person is equal to one person. The answer is no. Above and beyond circumstances that have been set forth to put us to sleep, but rather to serve us. Sad is the African and Black continent, which is scientifically recognized as the very cradle of humanity and civilization that has been placed under control and domination. Independent factions who have engaged in fratricidal wars and election-based democracy with biased aides, the wars for terrorism which are maliciously fabricated and maintained, injected against us, especially in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Dominating us, that's what it's all about. Stepping on our necks, as was the case of the unfortunate George Floyd in the United States. Is that democracy? These are partisans of a special kind of liberty that is intellectually justified to justify barbarism against our peoples, fighting supposedly for dignity and sovereignty. And that's why we have decided to say no. No to all these so-called friends who want our so-called good or who threaten us with war, to impose their friendship. That's why we don't want the democracy sold to us by wolves in sheep's clothing. We need to provide adequate leadership for our people so they can seek their own happiness, for the full emancipation and true social progress for our people, be it economic, social, cultural, or security development. Third, the African people, generally speaking, and in the Sahel specifically, have discovered the chains of economic security, social, cultural alienation that have materialized in secret agreements with France, where they committed to break their true emancipation. This includes, amongst others, the colonial debt. We will not turn a blind eye to this and pay it while allowing our people to die of hunger or thirst or disease. Second, the issue of the currency, the franc CFA. This is called the franc of the French African colonies. This is not African property. Legally speaking, property is the right to be able to dispose of something in the most absolute way, according to Article 544 of the French Civil Code. A patent is therefore held by France on the currency, the French CFA, and therefore it is the property, but it's the property of the African Francophone states. And what's amusing here is that the bills are produced by France for West Africa, and they're different from those of Central Africa, even though it's supposedly the same currency. The same document recognizes the French CFA by Decree 45 of the 26th December 1945. And it was signed, this legislation was signed by Charles de Gaulle, President of the temporary French government, René Plévin, Ministry of Finance, and Jacques Sousnel, the Minister of Colonies at the time. Next, the priority and interest for French companies in bids for public procurement and public offers. And finally, the exclusive right to provide equipment and military equipment and other types of military officers and colonies. If we ignore that these coups d'etats are often the result of bad governance and constitutional maneuvers in order to provide additional mandates. That will always happen. We need to be lucid about this and root out the real causes and require respect of democratic rules and virtuous governance. 5, the African people don't have a problem with the French people. It's rather the French policies and politics we have a problem with, the condescendence. That's what we reject. Refusing an ambassador to Niger is a violation of international law, especially Article 1 and 2 of the Vienna Convention, paragraph 9, on diplomatic relations of 1961. By deciding to refuse artists from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger in France, that is a serious undermining of cultural wealth and refusal of recognition. An artist is a psychic doctor, even at long distance. By declaring them, we do not want to have people unemployed, migrants and thieves and so forth in France. We do not want the looting, the cynical looting of our resources. What we want is a sincere recognition of our peoples throughout the world, which includes Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, that we should be accompanied in this difficult time on our path towards full emancipation with expression of dignity, honor, liberty, equality, prosperity, justice, and then, of course.
So yes, just as the captain is saying, we as children of Africa, we are the only people who are dancing over our impoverishment. We are the only people who are spreading red carpet for our own oppressors. This is what colonization has done to us. This is what the missionaries sent by the Europeans to come to Africa. This is what they were able to do to us. So we don't feel pain for ourselves. We don't see the world. We have no self-worth. It is so boring for you as an African to start speaking to another African about the suffering of the African. It's so boring. The other day we saw a video where a Congolese sister was in Israel crying. You saw the video. Whilst our people are, my people, her people in Congo, our family are dying. Genocide is going on in Congo. Whilst she is, and just last year, I was in Brussels. I was traveling. I was in Brussels. I saw Congolese going to Israel. You see them, they all dressed like there were over 50 people at the airport going to Israel. Whilst our people are like suffering. This is what colonization has done to us. And that is exactly what Captain Traore is talking about. We are the only people. Our names have been changed by these Europeans, by these colonizers, colonial criminals, I call them. Stop calling them colonial masters. They are colonial criminals. Our names were changed by these colonial criminals. Our educational system, our everything was changed by these colonial criminals to the extent that, as he said, today we don't feel we are worth anything. Like we have internalized our suffering to the extent that we have made it so normal that for us, we are here to suffer to make the Europeans enjoy. Imagine if the table has turned around. I've asked this before. Imagine if the table has turned around and then we as African people were going to Europe and America, taking their resources to come and build Africa. Imagine if we were going there to do the same thing that they are doing to us. Do you think they would have taken it? They are not cowards. The Europeans are not cowards. They will never have taken it. So why are we taking it? Why do we allow ourselves to be paying so-called colonial debt, just as Captain Traore was saying, to be paying so-called colonial debt to France, a country that is calling Africa third world country, uncivilized people. We are paying, and they claim that they want to help us, and yet we are paying colonial debt. What is colonial debt? Mama Alkana she has been talking about this, and we thank Mother Nature for giving us mothers like her. She has been talking about this. And it is about time we children, with this generation of Africans, to bring an end to this insult. We have the chance, never before afforded to any generation of Africans, to bring an end to all the insult that the Americans, the Europeans, the Chinese, everybody is doing to us. All the insult they are insulting us. We have the chance to bring an end to it with leaders like Captain Traore and Mama Arekana and the rest. We can bring an end to that. We cannot continue to be dancing over our own impoverishment. Enough is enough. And when enough is going to be enough for the children of Africa. Don't you think we also deserve better as a child of Africa? Just as we speak now, European citizens have already planned the year. We are just in February, but they have already planned the year 2024, where they are going to visit holidays and stuff like that. Can you do that as an African? Do you have that same privilege? A European wake up with his European passport, he traveled all over the world. They have made themselves citizens of this world, and yet made it look like we are second class or third class citizens. We are not part of this world because we have allowed that. As I said, the Europeans are not cowards. What we are taking in Africa, they will never take it if the table has turned around and then we were the ones taking their resources. Why do we allow them or ourselves to be belittled like this? And yet we claim that we are the cradle of mankind. If truly we are the cradle of mankind, then the children of Africa must stand up and demand their rightful place on this planet Earth. We must do that. We cannot continue to be dying in the Mediterranean Sea. As I said, imagine if European citizens were dying in the Mediterranean Sea just to cross to Africa, because Africans are taking European resources to go and build their continent. Imagine if Ghana or Nigeria or Sierra Leone or Mozambique were taking resources from Britain to go and build their countries. Do you think Britain would have taken it? No, there will not have been peace in the world. So why do we allow them to go to Congo to take our resources while we go to Israel to go and pray? While we go to wherever to go and pray? Whilst they come to our continent, taking everything from Congo, every mineral, for their own advancement, whilst they call us names, because we allow that. This generation of Africans must make sure that we will not tolerate it, and then we will not handle the same Africa to the next generation of Africans. If we are really not happy with the Africa that we inherited from our ancestors, we cannot blame them for that. But we will blame ourselves if we handle the same Africa to the next generation of Africans. Let us, as children of Africa, bring an end to this. There's enough for us as children of Africa to be great, if only we can unite the continent of Africa. I thank you very much for coming around. Please let us all together come and fight for the unification of Africa. Join any Pan-African group that is standing for for Africa, and then do not let anybody betray the cause that we have embarked now. Because one thing we have not been able to deal with as children of Africa are traitors. We have not been able to deal with traitors, and it's all part of the colonial pact. It's all part of the colonial arrangement, because what the colonialists have done is, what they did is that they were able to eliminate all traitors in their countries. In the Western world, all traitors, they eliminate all of them. And after eliminating them, because they know traitors will in a continent or in a country that traitors are not being dealt with, then no country can never prosper with traitors. So they have been able to manage to eliminate all their traitors and come to Africa and pass laws to protect traitors. Do you hear what I said? They have been able, Britain, America, Japan, whatever, Germany, France, they have been able to eliminate all their traitors, punish them, send them to jail and all those kind of stuff. They have been able to eliminate all their traitors, yet turn back and come to Africa, force us to pass laws to protect traitors. That is why you see Captain Traore country. What happened to Thomas Sankara? That was a traitor. In Congo, traitor. In Ghana, traitor. Nigeria, traitor. Sierra Leone, traitor. Traitors everywhere in Africa, because the colonialists, they know that any country that traitors have safety, that country will never prosper. So if we as children of Africa want to see a progressive Africa, then one thing again that our leaders must do is to make sure that those who betray the cause of Africa, the prosperity of Africa, those traitors must be dealt with seriously and severely. I thank you very much for coming around. Please don't be a traitor to Mother Africa. Africa has suffered enough. As an African, do not be a traitor to your country. to your continent. I thank you very much for coming around. Please, I am your missionary brother, Brother Dobia Anzanse. Please, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, take time out of your busy schedule. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, One African Mission. Together, we will make Africa great and better again. Thank you very much.